Hey y'all, thanks for stopping by. So, we got a weird topic for today. I talked about it a couple of weeks back uh, with Matt Walsh's little review of that See Is Consent book, and about how people don't seem to understand what consent means. Unfortunately, the new consent discourse wasn't brought up by conservatives, it was brought up by people who call themselves leftist or consider themselves progressive. It started with some lady made a post on Twitter about being sexually assaulted. She was talking about some guy who had, in the middle of the act, took off his condom, and she was too scared to say anything, and he just kept going. When I was coming up, that was called stealthing. Starting the act with protection, taking it off during. That's sexual assault. I'm very surprised that that's even up for debate, but that is sexual assault. You don't do that to people. If you enter an act with somebody under the pretense of the way it's gonna be, and it doesn't keep going that way, that's a problem. You're well within your right to tell people to stop, obviously. But I do understand the power dynamic with something like that. In those kind of moments, you are at your most vulnerable. And especially if it's, something kind of casual. I'm not knocking anybody who does anything like that, but if you don't really know who that person is, you don't know what they're capable of. You don't know if they're going to snap and do something even more violent to you. So I can understand that fear, that not wanting to address it in the moment because something worse could happen. Yeah, I understand that. This kept going. Basically, it turned into a sort of victim blaming type thing about, if you're not capable of telling somebody no, you shouldn't be having casual intercourse. It turned into, you're not mentally sound to go out with these kind of people. It turned into ableistic slurs from, frankly, one of the worst people I would say in political streaming today, Destiny. And his entire fan base, well, most of them, kept defending these points. I was very surprised to see that some of his most vocal defenders actually did say something about it. That this is clearly wrong. If this is bait, stop doing it. And if you really believe this, get checked out, because there's something wrong with you. Some of his more vocal supporters did clap back on it. So, props to you guys. Congratulations. You still have people who are defending him and defending these talking points. And the problem that I have with stuff like that is that it's not like they're coming to these conclusions on their own. I still think you're a terrible person if you somehow come to the conclusion that it's okay to take off protection during the sex act. I still think you're a terrible person if you blame somebody who's been sexually assaulted because you don't think they have the mental fortitude to go out with people or to deal with, frankly, incredibly dangerous situations at the drop of a hat. Things like that shouldn't happen. So what you do in the moment, you can always say, oh, well, I would have done this or I would have done that. You don't know. You don't. Until you've been in that kind of situation, you have no idea what you would do. And you might think you would, you would fight back, you would hit somebody, you would run away, whatever. until it happens to you. That's the problem that I have with any of this victim blaming, all of that. You have no idea what that person's been through. You don't know what it's like to be in that kind of situation. So don't blame them for it. Consent means you enter something with the understanding and agreement of how it's going to go and how it will end. If anything gets changed during the process, you need to clarify what you're doing. I am shocked that this has to be addressed, but apparently it does. If you normally I tell people, if you disagree with me, to leave a comment telling me why you disagree with me, but frankly, if you disagree with me on this one, just unfollow the channel. If you leave a comment, I'm going to make fun of you because this is ridiculous. Hopefully you don't disagree with me though. Hopefully you're just a normal person and you're decent. But we'll see what happens. Y'all have a good day.